Welcome to Radio Literature, Madison's weekly look at poetry, fiction, memoir, and experimental writing for readers of all ages. Settle in for a conversation on radio literature.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Melvin Hinton, your host for Radio Literature here on WORT 89.9 FM and HD Radio in Madison, Wisconsin. And I'm very happy to have our very special guests from Madison Shakespeare Company. First, let me introduce Jason Compton, who is the producer of their upcoming production of Henry IV.
Good evening.
So, Jason, why is this the first time you're on this program?
That's my mistake. But it did recently come to my attention that you've had Shakespearean troops in. I heard the young Shakespeare players on here fairly recently.
Yes.
You had some of our colleagues from Melancholy Play as well, and realized that we'd been missing out by not sitting in with you.
Yeah, and we've been missing out too, my listeners and I. And we have three of the actors from Henry IV, Martha White, Ari, is it Ari or Ari? Ari Pollack, and Ned O'Reilly. And of course I say Ari and I look at Ned, but anyway, I'll get it straightened out. So it's Martha White, Ari Pollack, and Ned O'Reilly. And I'm going to talk to each one individually, very briefly. Martha, how did you get, do you consider acting your profession?
Oh.
I know that's a difficult question.
You didn't warn me about this question. Let's call it an application more than a vocation.
Okay.
Because I do have my day job. Hi, boss.
But how did you get into acting? I mean, have you been doing it since you were a child?
I have, yes. I started acting with Children's Theatre of Madison when I was just a wee, itty, little bitty thing. Mm-hmm. And took a little bit of a break in high school, college, and came back to it. It's one of those things where, you're hooked if you just can't stand being away from it.
Yeah. So are you a native Wisconsinite then?
I am not only a native Wisconsinite, I am a native Madisonian.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go to Ari Pollack. What about you? Are you a native Wisconsinite?
I am as well. I'm also from Madison originally.
And how did you get started in this? You look very young, so I don't guess it's been too long since you got started.
I actually I started acting with the Young Shakespeare Players, a group that you know and that Jason mentioned, and that sort of got me into classical theater. I then majored in theater in college, and I've since moved back here. Did you ever come to this program with the Young Shakespeare Players? I think I did once, but it was a little while ago. I would assume that you have been here because I know a lot of the people from Young Shakespeare Players who came when they were 11, 12 years old, and now some of them have master's degrees and are working professionally in the theater. Those that I know of, or some are teaching creative writing and things like that. So let's go to Ned O'Reilly. And when I said that Ari looked young, I wasn't implying that the rest of you don't look young. He just looks to be even younger than the rest of you. Guilty as charged.
Ari is 5.
So, Ned, how are you this evening? And, I kept getting confused. I just want to explain my confusion when you came in and you said, "Hi, I'm Ned," because I was thinking, I thought there were going to be 3 people, and then they said 4 altogether, and then for some reason my mind jumped back to 3 because there were 3 people here with me, and then all of a sudden another person came in. I thought the house was already full, and then you came in, you said, "Hi, I'm Ned," and I thought, well, there were 3 people, so who is this person?
I'm from a big family, so Full House is my middle name.
I didn't mean to give you such a cold welcome.
That's quite all right.
So, Ned, what about you? Is this an avocation, a profession, or?
Yeah, avocation, a passion. I have been paid for my acting on occasion.
Okay.
Not a whole lot, but I have,
Yeah.
I started when I was about 10 years old. I probably did it a little bit before that, but that was my first breakthrough. It was Waiting for Godot. at 10 years old. That tells you a lot.
And now, how long has this company been in existence?
Madison Shakespeare Company has been producing Shakespeare in Madison and the environs since 2012.
2012.
Yes, we started with Julius Caesar at Bree Stevens Field before the renovation. And over the past 3 years, we've now been doing a full-length summer production, a full-length winter production, and that's what Henry IV is.
Okay.
And then some selected plays, sometimes full-length, sometimes scene selections, pretty aggressively and opportunistically throughout the rest of the year.
Oh, yeah. And have all of you, except I'm sure Ari hasn't, but have the rest of you been with Madison Shakespeare since the beginning?
Of the four of us, only I have been with Madison Shakespeare Company from the beginning. I've worked with all three people here. Martha did a staged reading with us over the summer. You were in both of them. I beg your pardon. Martha was in both of the staged readings that we did over the summer. I actually did a Shakespeare production with a different theater company. Fermat's Theater did... Fermat's Last Theater, I beg your pardon, did Troilus and Cressida in 2014. That was where I met Ari. And Ned and I have collaborated on about 37,000 projects over the past 5 years.
Yeah. I really wanted to see that Troilus and Cressida. I missed it.
It was worth seeing.
Yeah, I'm sure. And from what I heard, it really was. So all of you were conned into the theater when you were too young to...
Yes,
exactly.
To resist.
Well, my father was a Shakespeare expert. He directed it all the time. Most notably at the University of Chicago and the Body Politic Theater in the 1980s in Chicago, and he played Falstaff a number of times in a number of different productions. So I grew up with kind of Shakespeare all around.
Yeah. Yeah. And Ari, was this Young Shakespeare Players, was that a family affair, or are you the only one from your family?
No, it was just me. Yeah, my little brother never really got into... He didn't get into theater until he was in high school and realized that at West High, the theater kids are the cool kids.
Oh, yeah.
So it was really kind of just my thing.
Now, something that, then we'll have a scene from Henry IV. Something that I'm always interested in is how actors prepare. How do you keep your body and your voice in shape? That's the first thing, the physical aspect. Does anybody have any interesting or not so interesting?
I mean, it is an interesting way, the way you put that, keep your I think you said your body in shape. The more that I learn about acting and study other actors, the more that I've concluded that it's about 90% physical fitness, and the other 10% is, memorization, characterization, and so forth. Just especially when you meet full-time professionals, and just the grind that their lives are. Most of it really is just being able to stand up, keep everything rigid that needs to be rigid, loose that needs to be loose. Don't get sick and don't fall over. So it is genuinely important to stay fit. Some of us Ned once gave me a great compliment about me being blessed with having been born with I can't remember how you said it, but you complimented my voice, which I have not had to try to cultivate. So I'm lucky on that front. But Ari, you were semi-classically trained from a young age. So.
Yes, somewhat. I actually, most of how I sort of prepare a character these days actually comes from a sort of physical acting technique. I guess my teacher would kill me for saying it's a technique, but a type of work developed by Jerzy Grotowski, the Polish theater theorist. And that is a very sort of physical practice. I could take the entire half hour to describe it, but it's a very... It winds up being that the time I spend working on my character conveniently also helps my body prepare for... this is definitely a very physically challenging play. There's a lot of fighting in the end of it, so it's good to have that.
Which I'm happy I'm not part of the fighting.
Oh, okay.
Same. I'll say though, I had I was ill at the end of last year and the beginning of this year.
And this is Martha White.
Hi. But I have one line that is a little bit of a run-on sentence, and when I got the script, I looked at it and I thought, oh, that's going to take a lot of breath. I should have started running again like 2 years ago. This is going to take a lot of lung power. And then I got sick and I lost the ability to deliver the line the way I wanted to deliver it. So I had to change the way I approached that entire speech, which I haven't been yelled at for yet. But we'll see once we get into the theater.
Yeah, I always lament that we only have half an hour for this program. I always say 27 and a half minutes. So why don't we get into a scene from Henry IV, and Jason, you can set it up for us, I guess.
Absolutely. In Act 1, Scene 3, King Henry insults Harry Percy twice, demanding that Hotspur turn over his prisoners of war without ransom, while also refusing to pay the ransom for Hotspur's captured brother-in-law Mortimer. When Hotspur protests, the king forbids him to speak further of Mortimer and leaves the room. Hotspur's uncle, the Earl of Worcester, arrives to hear the end of his nephew's ill-tempered rant.
Speak of Mortimer, but I will lift the downtrodden Mortimer as high in the air as this unthankful king, as this ingrate and cankered Bolingbroke.
Who struck this heat up after I was gone?
He will, forsooth, have all my prisoners. And when I urged the ransom once again of my wife's brother, then his cheek looked pale, and on my face he turned an eye of death, trembling even at the name of Mortimer.
I cannot blame him. Was not he proclaimed by Richard, that dead is, the next of blood, and for whose death we in the world's wide mouth live scandalized and foully spoken of?
But, soft, I pray you, did King Richard then proclaim my brother Edmund Mortimer heir to the crown?
He did. Myself did hear it.
Nay, then, I cannot blame his cousin king that wished him on the barren mountains starve. But shall it be that you, that set the crown upon the head of this forgetful man, and for his sake wear the detested blot of murderous subornation, shall it be, therefore I say—
Peace, nephew, say no more. And now I will unclasp a secret book, and to your quick-conceiving discontents I'll read you matter deep and dangerous, as full of peril and adventurous spirit.
By heaven, methinks it were an easy leap to pluck bright honor from the pale-faced moon, or dive into the bottom of the deep, where fathom line could never touch the ground, and pluck up drowned honor by the locks.
He apprehends a world of figures here, but not the form of what he should attend. Good cousin, give me audience for a while.
I cry you mercy.
Those same noble Scots that are your prisoners—
Oh, keep them all. By God, he shall not have a Scot of them. No, if a Scot would save his soul, he shall not. I'll keep them by this hand.
You start away, and lend no ear unto my purposes. Those prisoners you shall keep—
Nay, I will, that's flat. He said he would not ransom Mortimer, forbade my tongue to speak of Mortimer, but I will find him when he lies asleep, and in his ear I'll holla Mortimer. Nay, I'll have a starling shall be taught to speak nothing but Mortimer, and give it him to keep his anger still in motion. All studies here I solemnly defy, save how to gall and pinch this Bolingbroke. And that same sword and buckler, Prince of Wales, but that I think his father loves him not, and would be glad he met with some mischance. I'd have him poisoned with a pot of ale.
Farewell, kinsman. I'll talk to you when you are better tempered to attend.
Why, look you, I am whipped and scourged with rods, nettled and stung with pismires when I hear of this vile politician, Bolingbroke.
Then once more to your Scottish prisoners. Deliver them up without their ransom straight. The king will always think him in our debt, and think we think ourselves unsatisfied, till he hath found a time to pay us home. And see already how he doth begin to make us strangers to his looks of love.
He does. We'll be revenged on him.
Cousin, farewell. No further go in this than I by letter shall direct your course.
Uncle, adieu. Oh, let the hours be short, till fields and blows and groans applaud our sport.
They exit.
I feel so privileged to be sitting here witnessing this up so close. I mean, this is better than sitting in the first row. Do any of you know who Ruth Gordon was?
Oh, yes.
The actress?
Yes.
Yeah.
What was the name?
Ruth Gordon.
Oh, of course, yes.
Okay.
I don't know the connection though. Did she famously play Harry Percy, aka Hotspur, in a production of Henry IV?
No, I like to throw my guests off sometimes.
The Ruth Gordon reference.
Yeah, but because it's just something that I wanted to bring up. I wanted to share with you because I was watching a rerun of the Dick Cavett show. Have you heard of Dick Cavett?
Of course.
Absolutely.
And so I was living abroad when Dick Cavett was on television. So
Early 70s.
I guess, yeah.
Maybe late 60s.
Yeah. And he, I love it when he has actors and actresses on and theater people in general. And he was talking to Lauren Bacall. And I was delighted when she spoke of her reverence for Betty Davis, whom I revere as well. And then that was yesterday. I mean, these are things I've recorded. And then today I was watching his conversation with Ruth Gordon, whom I didn't know. I think I'd heard the name, and then I realized that I had seen her in Rosemary's Baby, in the movie Rosemary's Baby, but I didn't remember the name
Harold
of the actress.
and Maude.
And so I texted a friend of mine who knew that I was watching Dick Cavett, and I just said, Ruth Gordon, ! Because I was just so moved by her presence. Even on the television screen, the way she walked in and sat down and began to talk, and she wasn't being dramatic. She seemed so natural, but just it was as if I could feel her presence through the television screen. And so my friend texted me back and she said, well, Ruth Gordon is the only woman who has a theater named for her on Broadway. So I thought I would share that with you and with the listeners. Ruth Gordon. Okay, so Jason.
Yes.
How does one become a producer?
Yeah. One insists that plays be put on, and when somebody says, "Yeah, that's a really great idea, you should go do that," or doesn't want to pick it up themselves, then that's basically It with Madison Shakespeare Company, the company went dormant, did a couple of productions, 2012, 2013, and then went dormant, and for complicated reasons we don't have time to get into, in 2015 I decided it was time to start doing Shakespeare on a more regular basis in Madison, and started calling people and putting together casts and scripts, and we were off and running.
So exactly what does the producer do?
It varies a little bit. In this case, I do a lot of making sure that all of the people that are needed to execute the play are in place. So, pairing a director with a script. I work very closely with Francisco Torres, who is the artistic director of MSC, on choosing scripts and setting direction. But there's making sure that we have the talent that we need both on stage and off stage, arranging venues, arranging promotions and publicity, like sending emails to Melvin Hinton asking for an appearance on Radio Literature, essentially just making sure that the artistic elements can all come together in a relatively coordinated and stress-free manner.
Yes. Well, I hope to be receiving regular emails from, in the future.
I have learned my lesson.
Yeah, so I can be up to date on your productions, because I love theater, and I believe my listeners love theater as well. So we usually have quite a bit of theater. We've had another Shakespeare company from outside Madrid. I can't remember the name of the town right now. And I didn't expect them to be bad or anything like that, but they were surprisingly. They were so good, and especially 2 or 3 of the actors were. I told them, I said, well, you could go onto the stage right now, just a professional stage, and they were quite young, 17, 18. One was 17, one was 19, I believe. So, as you can probably tell, theater excites me, and theater people excite me. So, and I like being around theater people. So,
would you be excited to hear the Hotspurs at Home, which is our second scene?
Oh, yes, I would.
Then may I set that up for us?
Yeah, please do.
All right. At home, Hotspur reads a letter from a noble he has tried to enlist in rebellion against King Henry.
But for mine own part, my lord, I could be well contented to be there, in respect of the love I bear your house. He could be contented. Why is he not, then? The purpose you undertake is dangerous. Why, that's certain. 'Tis dangerous to take a cold, to sleep, to drink. But I tell you, my lord fool, out of this nettle danger we pluck this flower safety. The purpose you undertake is dangerous. The friends you have named uncertain, the time itself unsordid, and your whole plot too light for the counterpoise of so great an opposition. Say you so? Say you so? I say unto you again, you are a shallow, cowardly hind, and you lie. What a lack-brain is this? By the Lord, our plot is a good plot as ever was laid, our friends true and constant, a good plot, good friends, and full of expectation, an excellent plot, very good friends. What a frosty, spirited rogue is this? What a pagan rascal is this? An infidel! Hang him. Let him tell the king. We are prepared. I will set forward tonight.
Lady Percy enters.
How now, Kate? I must leave you within these 2 hours.
Oh, my good lord, why are you thus alone? For what offence have I this fortnight been a banished woman from my Harry's bed? Tell me, sweet lord, what is it that takes from thee thy stomach, pleasure, and thy golden sleep? Why dost thou bend thine eyes upon the earth, and start so often when thou sitt'st alone? Why hast thou lost the fresh blood in thy cheeks, and given my treasures and my rights of thee to thick-eyed musing and cursed melancholy? In thy faint slumbers I by thee have watched, and heard thee murmur tales of iron wars, speak terms of manage to thy bounding steed, cry courage to the field. And thou hast talked of sallies and retires, of trenches, tents. Thy spirit within thee hath been so at war, and thus hath so bestirred thee in thy sleep, that beads of sweat have stood upon thy brow, and in thy face strange motions have appeared, such as we see when men restrain their breath on some great sudden hest. Oh, what portents are these? Some heavy business has my lord in hand, and I must know it, else he loves me not.
What sayest thou, my lady?
What is it carries you away?
Why, my horse, my love, my horse.
Out, you mad-headed ape! A weasel hath not such a deal of spleen as thou art tossed with. In faith, I'll know your business, Harry, that I will. I fear my brother Mortimer doth stir about his title, and hath sent for you to line his enterprise. But if you go...
So far afoot, I shall be weary, love.
Come, you paraquito, answer me directly unto this question that I ask. In faith, I'll break thy little finger, Harry, and if thou wilt not tell me all things true.
Away. Away, you trifler. Love? I love thee not. I care not for thee, Kate. This is no world to play with mammoths and to tilt with lips. We must have bloody noses and cracked crowns, and pass them current too. God's me, my horse! What sayest thou, Kate? What wouldst thou have with me?
Do you not love me? Do you not indeed? Well, do not then, for since you love me not, I will not love myself. Do you not love me? Nay, tell me if you speak in jest or no.
Come, wilt thou see me ride? And when I am a horseback, I will swear I love thee infinitely. But hark you, Kate, I must not have you henceforth question me whither I go, nor reason whereabout. Whither I must, and to conclude, this evening must I leave you, gentle Kate.
How?
Whither I go, thither shall you go too. Today will I set forth, tomorrow you. Will this content you, Kate?
It must, of force.
They exit.
I'm Melvin Hinton, your host here on Radio Literature, and I'm here with my special guests from Madison Shakespeare Company, Jason Compton, producer of Henry IV, and actors Martha White, Ari Pollack, and Ned O'Reilly. And you've just heard another scene from Henry IV. And before we go, Jason, I want my listeners to know how they can, where they need to go and how they get tickets and all of that. Can you give us that information?
I want them to know that, too. Henry IV opens February 9th, runs through February 17th at the Bartell Theatre in the downstairs Evu stage. Tickets are $20, $15 for students. You can go to bartelltheater.org or the Madison Shakespeare site, madisonshakespeare.org. Either way will get you to a convenient ticket link. There's also the Bartell box office, which is open Tuesday through Friday, 2 p.m. through 6 p.m. 6 shows, 7:30 start times, and 2 matinees with a 4 p.m. start time.
Okay. Well, we don't give prices on
I
the show,
beg your pardon.
but
I
you
did
didn't
not know.
So sometimes we forget to tell people because we just think everybody knows, but that's not the case. So again, that's the Bartell Theater starting on February 9th. Henry IV, put on by Madison Shakespeare Company. And as you have been able to hear tonight, it's well worth it, no matter how much it costs. We still have another minute or so, and I'm just wondering about who are your models? Because we all, when we learn something, we usually learn from somebody, and maybe our teachers are our first models, maybe not. Or in your case, could have been to a certain extent your father.
Sure.
But among people that are known in theater, past or present, who are your models or your idols? If you have idols, that's
I will
too.
cede this to anybody who has a ready answer.
I think I could talk on this.
Yeah.
So
this is Ari.
I was blessed that during my freshman year of college, I was going to school in New York City, and the productions from England of Twelfth Night and Richard III were on Broadway at the time. I saw them both in one weekend, and I was completely smitten with Mark Rylance, which I know is a fairly common role model in theater. But I'm really struck by the way that he speaks classical text so naturally. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like that's what people should be doing all the time moment.
Anybody else?
Absolutely. Rosalind Cash, my beloved late aunt, Cicely Tyson, and I will watch absolutely anything with Ruby Dee.
Okay. Anybody else?
Sure. Jeff Bridges has always been a favorite of mine.
Okay.
I'm kind of a physical. I'm aging sort of the way he did. He's a few years older, and I kind of say, "Oh yeah, that's where I'm going."
Yeah. Okay,
and I love his range over the decades.
And we have a few seconds for Jason. If you've thought of anybody,
I have channeled Richard Dawson, and I'm not ashamed.
Yeah, I know that name.
He was the original and best host of Family Feud. And it was in Troilus and Cressida. I'm like, I am doing Richard Dawson from The Running Man. I'm doing it right now.
Okay. Well, it's unfortunately our time is about up. So I want to reiterate, I'm Melvin Hinton, your host on Radio Literature, every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. on WORT FM HD Radio here in Madison, Wisconsin. And our guests have been Madison Shakespeare Company with Martha White, Ari Pollack, Jason Compton, and Ned O'Reilly. And please join us again next week. Good night.
Thank you so much.
You've been listening to Radio Literature, a collectively produced weekly program on WORT 89.9 FM Madison and WORT HD. We are listener-sponsored community radio. Join us again next Thursday at 7:30 for more features of local writers and writers of local interest.